Ubuntu is a concept that we have in our Bantu languages at home. Ubuntu is the essence of being a person. It means that we are people through other people. We cannot be fully human alone. We are made for interdependence. We are made for family. When you have Ubuntu, you embrace others. You are generous, compassionate. If the world had more Ubuntu, we would not have war. We would not have this huge gap between the rich and the poor. You are rich so that you can make up what is lacking for others. You are powerful so that you can help the weak, just as mother or father helps their children. This is God's dream.
So we're here and we're dealing with youth business. And we're trying to bring or conceptualize why youth must come together and have dialogue.
The International Youth Summit, from what I can tell, is networking. Network is critical to every corporation, every business, city, community, family, right? We need to interact, we need to communicate with each other, we need to share ideas. That's what this is. The importance of the summit, the importance of all these conferences is to get people of like minds to exchange these ideas, to see what the other person is doing that's working for them, and perhaps we can utilize those same practices. To see what the vision, the purpose, the plan is for each of these different communities, organizations that can help us, that can grow with us, or that we can help. There may be instances where individuals or entire organizations feel that they're alone. All of us have felt alone before. This is coming together and taking a stand together. Unity. Ubuntu.
Ubuntu!
Ubuntu!
Why must we come together? Both older youth and younger youth.
But that's what it is. It's coming together. It's us taking care of each other, right? What do we say? We check each other, make sure we all stay on point. And that's what we gotta do. Look out for our fellow man. Look out for our fellow brother and sister. Because without us, who's gonna do it? So yeah, it's very important. And it's gonna happen. Because we are too far into this technological age for us not to communicate.
Like what Bob Marley said in one of his songs, one people, one love. And I believe that when it comes to uniting in our society, there shouldn't be an age, because then the age doesn't really matter. What matters is whenever we unite as a team and we work together as one.
Tell me, what's your idea?
Well, having youths coming together and together in a forum, especially from an international standpoint, is good. Because then every one of us has a different idea in our mind. And depending on the place that we come from, sometimes we have a different reality. And it's good that we come and share our different realities with each other so that we can see what that can bring about for what is needed for the change. Especially for young minds that we have right now.
When you say change, what are you talking about?
The changes that are needed, that young people know that are needed. More youth transition into leadership like programs.
Tell me, brother, why are we here, and why do you think youth should come together?
Well, it's like the guys said, the summit is Ubuntu, the oneness. We have to come together to basically we are the future, so we have to learn from now as to how to work together to bring forth the changes that we want to see, specifically maybe if it's economical, whether it be trade, bilateral arrangements, as into how countries can work together, in sharing and basically the national wealth, global wealth in a sense.
Why should we, as young people, come together and have these dialogues and these forums where we discuss the issues that are of particular interest to us?
I think we basically have one set goal and everybody should work to that specific goal so it will be successful.
Can you tell me that set goal?
The set goal is to bring about different, not really different organization, but the same goal to work on, like we say, the Black Association. So, and we have a set goal. So I think the goal is
food security,
yeah,
cultural security, economic security, and so on. So those are the goals you're talking. Brother Azu was with us back in 2002 when we were thinking at the time that we had solved the youth problem and the youth issues and that we were going to create a national front. Give me your synopsis.
Alright,
Take 2002 to 2014 and talk.
I
know.
But 2002, from that time till now, I have seen very little change as it relates to showing or giving the young people the respect that they deserve, as well as the recognition that they deserve. 2002, we tried to bring the young people together so that we could have gotten them involved in decision making, and that was never realized. And even up to date, that still has not been realized. We are going to ensure that every young person be represented and that the voice of every young person in this country be heard. And that is what we want to undertake as a youth association.
I believe with the meet because youth are the way to go. Not necessarily that the way to go, but we are the year now. We are the people who are create the next couple of years and create the system for the next couple of years for their youths. You know what I mean? So we are the people we need for that right now. We don't have the strength, we have the numbers. Statistically, they said about I think about 60% of our population are youths, and we're also the people where they lack the opportunities. So the best people to fix the situation, that people where they're in the situation, and that's us. So it's good that we come together, we put together with ideas, with thoughts, and we also put together with actions, because we need action at this point.
And answering your question, what's the benefits of an International Youth Summit is simply old people get together and talk about the conditions that they exist in all the time. They come together and typically come to the same conclusion that we need to inspire the youth to do the work that we cannot, because ultimately the older generations have done the work that they could do. So the purpose of the Youth Summit is simply to inspire youth to change the circumstance that they exist in so that they can make it better for the generation that's going to come behind them. A youth summit in and of itself creates an opportunity for people to come together and realize that we are one, that we share some of the same circumstances that our parents fought against, and we as youth have the opportunity to come together and deal with that in ways that the generations before us could not, because they have prepared us to do the work that they could not. I mean, ultimately, from generation to generation, the idea is simply to hand the torch of leadership down to your children, to make your children better than you were so that they could fight a better fight than you did. And within that capacity, if youth come together and realize that we as a people have the power to be empowered and make a change, then simply it creates an opportunity for the youth to be agents of change, to be the ones who deliver liberation. Simply in the past, our parents were able to write the letter and put it in an envelope, and it has become or been placed on our shoulders to deliver that envelope, because like Frederick Douglass says, power does not concede without a demand, and if that power does not concede to the demand of the youth, then it will be the youth that create the opportunity to demand that power to concede. And that, I believe, is the purpose of the Youth Summit, to empower the youth to be agents of change and to deliver this liberation that their parents have fought for.
You are never too young to lead. You are never too young to do what you actually believe in. We keep saying that the future belongs to the young. It only belongs to you if you take it. from what I have seen, you young people are going to change the world, and you have to be the change that you want to see.
What kind of leadership can I give?
If I have a role to play, where do I start?
Do I start with leading change in myself, in my community?
What does it take to start with myself?
Will it make a difference?
The world has gone through lots of changes since my last visit. One of the most important things has been the financial crisis, which has created lots of problems around the world. How has this impacted on the lives of the ordinary people? How have the governments used the revenues to ensure that they improve the livelihood and the well-being of their people? Have we invested the revenues in education, in health, in infrastructure, and areas that will really benefit the people? We talk of reforms when the crisis hit, but as things begin to improve, nobody is pushing reforms. The financial houses and the banks are pushing back in America and elsewhere. And I'm not sure we can get the kind of reforms some of your discussions here reflect that we need. And honestly, I have been quite pleasantly surprised that we haven't had more social conflict in societies around the world. We've seen, yes, demonstrations in Spain, in Greece, Italy, in other parts of, but it's been peaceful. It has not been violent, it's not been aggressive, and this is something that we need to worry about. We see the impact of the situation on the young, the youth unemployment, where you have about 70 million young people around the world without jobs. And when people are out of the job market for a year or so, they sometimes lose the habit of working, and it's extremely difficult for them to get it back. And yet we have situations where most governments, when they are putting together economic plans, focus on interest rates, growth rates, the GDP you refer to, and inflation. Very few governments ask themselves specifically the question, what can we do to create jobs for the young people? What do we do for our young ones? Are we giving them the right type of education? Are we preparing them for the world beyond university walls? We're giving them this education and degrees. Degrees for what? Would we be better off giving them vocational training, where they can do things, so that if they leave the university, they leave school and they cannot find jobs, they create their own companies, they create jobs and team up and employ each other. We tend to look at the big corporations for jobs, but the jobs are created by the small and medium-sized companies. That's where the jobs come from. And if we can encourage and support these young people to be able to do that, we may be able to resolve our problems. So we have, in many countries, we have a huge youth bulge where these young people could be an asset if we train them, prepare them, and use their energy.
Cameroon has been enjoying peace for a long time because the young people were sleeping. Now that we are aware of what is happening and we have decided to leave our comfort zones to stand up for our rights, we are being killed, we are being tortured. What should we do? And I wish to pledge to you, because I'm not talking on behalf of myself, but for my people, I wish to pledge with you to take an interest in my country, Cameroon, so that together we can do something for the generations to come. Thank you.
I'm very happy to hear you stand up and speak so eloquently. You're already a leader, and we need young leaders to take charge and move forward. But I think what is important is for the students and the young people, and not just the young people. You can't always do it alone. You need partners. You need sensible politicians You need to work with old people. You need to work with women's groups. You need to work with intellectuals and others to push for the change that you want, to start talking about good governance, talk about rights, and argue your position. Above all, avoid violence. If you use violence, you play into the hands of the authorities. It's always, we are establishing law and order. We don't want violence. We have to secure the environment. But I think the best way is to organize yourselves, know what it is that you're pushing for, and really be specific. Ask for specific things that you can push and embarrass the politicians to act. I think from the discussions you yourself have had, you've identified gaps and weaknesses in the current system, and that changes will have to come. But the changes, if they are going to come, will have to also come because of pressure from the people and the changes they want to see in the system. Often people in authority tend to be comfortable and tend to accept the status quo. Most of them keep saying, this is what we do. Very few leaders ask themselves the question that they should ask all the time. What should we be doing? Not this is what we do, or this is what we've always done. And I think given the pressures and what is happening around the world, with the emergence of the new economic powers, changes will come, and it is already happening.
Thank you.